Morning all, it's ACDodd here again. Welcome to another episode of On the Road Tuning with ACDodd. And today we're down in Kent. We've got a nice little Mini to see first, belonging to somebody called Amy. And then we are going to go to ML Motorsport for basically a couple of days tuning and quite a few cars. So stick along for the ride and see how we get on. Okay, so here we are. We're down in Sittingbourne in this nice little Mini. This one belongs to Amy. And we got some running issues. So here's Amy. Hi Amy.
Hi.
All right, why'd you call me down?
I've got some issues and it's running a bit rich.
Okay, and what sort of issues have you got?
When we mess about with the timing, obviously then she goes flat and she doesn't work.
Okay, so effectively it drives poorly, uses a lot of fuel, all that sort of stuff, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, let's dig into it and see what we can find and hopefully make your car run a lot better. All right?
Perfect.
Okay, so we're under the bonnet. First thing I noticed on this one, it's got the right coil on, had Bosch spark plugs in, but not Super 4s, but they were in very, black sooty condition. So we've got a new set of spark plugs, non-resistors. We've got a power spark dizzy. We've got the correct ohm coil, which is a high power coil for this system. So what I'm now going to do is run a separate feed round from the fuse box to give the full power to the coil, so we can utilise the full benefit of that. Moving on to the carb, the other thing I noticed is it's got this dreadful thing on the side of the carburetor, which is basically an open air leak straight into the engine via that port there. And someone was mistakenly fitted that straight on the carburetor, thinking they're doing a good thing, where in actual fact they're just creating a massive air leak. So I've got to plug that hole and then we'll start the engine, get it baseline tuned and go from there. Okay, right, found the problem. This one was running rich. Now you can't see it from here, but the problem is that in this HS4 carburetor somebody has managed to fit a 100th thou jet, which basically means even though that jet's right at the top with a standard needle, that is going to fuel an overfuel, and that's exactly what it's doing. So we've got 0.65 or thereabouts when it's idling, and I can't lean it out. So obviously whatever idiot put that in there doesn't know their arse and their elbow when it comes to carburetor. So again, another example of people, potentially trying to do the right thing but failing miserably because they're overlooking the specs. Anyway, what we're going to do this time is, because this is an old carb, we're going to fit a new ACDodd rebuilt carb, and we'll dial that in and hopefully this will run really well. Okay, so what have we done now? Right, we fitted a new carburetor here. We've changed the needle from an AAC needle to an ABD, and we've also modified the needle a little bit, and this thing runs real nice. So now what we're going to do is we're going to let Amy go in it and take it for a spin and see what she thinks. Okay, Amy's been out for a drive. Look at the smile, that says it all. Okay, so what you got now?
Nice. Like car that runs.
Okay.
Bit touchy on the throttle now, it's nice.
Excellent, yeah, so no flat spots.
No.
Bit more go.
Yeah.
Starts properly.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think in this case we have found another little issue, haven't we?
Yeah.
It now wants to cut out every now and then when you pull up, which is interesting. So I think we're going to have to leave that for another day, but I certainly can't put my finger on it right now. And it might be related to wiring, or it might be related to pipes and manifolds moving, etc. But the original problem, where it was so rich, it was actually running at 0.65 on lambda at idle. If we had an air leak, then that, when you come to pull up and the manifolds are moving, you wouldn't have noticed that because it was so rich anyway. In this case, now we're running the right mixture. If there's a further issue, then obviously that will need to be looked at. But the main thing is, you can start it, you can drive it, and it goes a lot better. All right, excellent. Would you recommend this service?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Anyway, thanks for bringing me over, and hopefully you can enjoy your car.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so next venue, we're down at ML Motorsport now, and I'm here for the afternoon here, and I've got tomorrow as well. First car in, which I've already done, and this is a nice Mini Park Lane, completely standard. So it's been into ML Motorsport for some work, and engine wise it's had a new carburetor, and let's just have a quick look under the bonnet, under the shield here, and you can see it's got a new dizzy, coil, leads, etc, etc. And it's also, you can for those who are have spotted it, the cylinder head is a different colour because the head's been off and been reconditioned, so it's had all the valves done as well. So this one's actually really sharp. Interestingly, the standard needle was much too lean, so we went up to an AAE needle, which was actually spot on straight out of the box. So that does happen every now and then. And I also noticed that we were a bit rich at 5,000 revs with the air filter on, so I took the liberty of drilling the air box, which made the air fuel great, well, much better, much more, I should say, much more linear right the way across the rev range, and also it's released a bit more power. So Andy's just been out in here. The customer's not here today, but Andy's been out in it, and this little thing rips. So yeah, really happy about this one. Nice and simple. Just needed a good needle in. And the dash pot oil I had to thin down to some hydraulic jack oil, and then a fast drop damper modification, and yeah, she rips. So let's move on to the next car. Okay, so second car in. This is a nice F-plate Mini. It's quite modified, so it's got a 1275 engine, which is a ML Motorsport rebuild. My job's quite simple because this one just needs dialing in. So advanced curve wise, we're probably a touch slow, but actually in reality we're somewhere in the ballpark. So I've moved on to the carburetor. So carb wise, we're running a bit lean. So I've changed the needle, that's running a bit lean as well. So I'm now going to move over to the needle lathe and start dialing it in. Okay, we got this one dialed in. As I said before, the advanced curve's a touch slow, but good enough. The needle on this one was very finicky, and the carb's got a little bit of wear in it, but so I've had to come with a happy medium. But now she sounds ideal for a standard engine. Okay, here we are, ML Motorsport again, day number 2. We've got a nice little Mini 1000. This one's just completed a rebuild, actually. Very, very nice car. This is Ben. Ben's the owner of this nice little red Mini. So what have you brought here today?
Well, yeah, I spent winter putting a new engine in it and getting it set up as well as I thought that I could. With my limited experience, plenty of new parts on it, but it seems I didn't worry about the carburetor. I just pulled it to bits, cleaned it up, put a new needle in it, and that seems that wasn't enough, because when we get here it's badly worn, and the car wasn't giving me as nice a sort of drive as I'd have hoped for, having had a new engine. I've done what I could with the setting up of the timing and the mixture, but it still wasn't quite there, and obviously I wanted to get it properly set up to make the whole project worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, all right. So do you have any driving issues with it?
It's under load, it seems to sort of not pull at its best. If you're cruising along, it seems to be okay, but then if you're trying to really accelerate, or you're going up a hill or whatever, then it really sort of, it seemed like it wasn't running right.
Yeah, okay. Did it smell of fuel or when you were driving it?
Not particularly, but it certainly smells of old car. But then I think I expect it's always going to do that.
All right, fair enough.
It wasn't overly fueling.
I know you haven't done very many miles in it, so perhaps you wouldn't have a handle on how much fuel it's using, but I could tell you it was probably using a lot.
I couldn't comment on that. As you say, it's not done many miles yet. It's still, we've not had it that long.
Okay, all right. Well, let's get it finished, and then we'll let you go out for a test drive.
Looking forward to it.
And I've gone through this one. Engine hasn't got many miles on it, but it's been running very, very rich. So although we've gone through the ignition system, that's all fine. We only had spark plugs that were gapped far too large, so I've reduced that. But the real issue with this one was the carburetor. So at the moment, Andy Davis is just fitting a new carburetor. So we'll come back to him in a minute when he's spannering away. There's no doubt he'll make some rude comment.
Good morning.
So yeah, he's busy beavering away fitting that. Let's go and have a quick look at the reason why we changed that one. So here's the one that came off it. The top's already missing. So there's a couple of issues. First one of which is it wouldn't slow down, and on removal what we can see here is the butterfly. You can see the angle on the top there has been fitted the wrong way around, so it won't actually seal the hole. So that means we couldn't get the idle down. Secondly, we've got the usual, I don't know if that's going to come out, but we've got play in the throttle spindle bushes, so it's basically worn out. And then thirdly, when we took the top off, there was a jet about 4 inches high of petrol where the needle valve was leaking through. So just about every part of this carburetor was failing to do its job, which is why we needed to change it so we can continue tuning. Okay, so we finished dialing in Ben's Mini. We had to replace the carburetor, so nice rebuilt ACDodd SU, HS4 SU on that one. Custom needle in the end to get this one to fuel right, but we've got a nice fueling curve. So yeah, we've made this engine run really well. So let's speak to Ben now. Right, Ben, been for a quick test drive. What's it like?
Yeah, it's much better. It feels no longer like a 50-year-old car. It feels like a brand new car. It's crisp. It's no flat spots. It pulls all the way through, and it's a just lovely car to drive now. So I'm really pleased.
Excellent. Well, you can see that smile. That's a lovely smile. I'm very lucky to have lots of customers with that smile once we've tuned the car. But that's the whole point, is you don't have to have a car that runs badly or smells of fuel or uses loads of fuel. You can actually have an old classic car that drives really, really well, but it takes perhaps a bit more skill than the average mechanic to get them to run right.
Yeah, well, I'm another happy customer.
Excellent. So I think if I said, would you recommend this to anyone else, I think I know what your answer would be.
Oh, it's money well spent.
Okay. All right. Well, enjoy your car, Ben, and thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
Okay, so another car. Now this one's got some history with ML Motorsport and myself. Andy built this car many years ago for a previous owner, and the new owner has brought it in for a tune-up. And the interesting thing is, certainly for me anyway, is this is a genuine ACDodd built engine. So this was back in the days when before I did my own camshaft. So this uses a Kent 266 cam. It's got twin HS4s on it, which are built by me. It's got an alternator, which is built by me, which is still on there. I'd say that this is over 12 years old now, so this is doing well. And it's in for a tune-up. And actually, I've just been through it, and the only thing it needs is the advance curve, which is one of my dizzies, which I did many years ago. It's just starting to show a little bit of relaxation of the springs, so that needs to come off and go back to my workshop to tighten the springs up. Other than that, it's fine. The spark plugs were changed, which was the biggest change on this engine, and it made it run a lot better because the old ones have been in there for so long. And the carburetors themselves were actually very good, so I didn't need to do anything with the needles on these. And the only thing I had to adjust was the choke cable, so that when you pulled this, one was opening before the other. So it was only very slight, but I've adjusted that so they're both open at the same time now. So yeah, it's nice to see this one back, mainly because this was a nice build at the time, and it's also nice to see that they're still running. So anyway, excellent. The customer's not here, so you won't get a chance to speak to him, but this one runs strong. This is Mavs' Mini, and it was the last car of the day that I got to tune. So as with all the tune-ups, first job here is to check the timing. On this engine, the timing was a bit too far advanced, so here I am just retarding that.
That's that smooth, that, isn't it? Saying about everything's bang on.
Here I'm checking the high RPM advance to make sure that the advance curve in the distributor is not providing too much advance at the top of the rev range. we're finished with the timing. Now let's start work on the fueling. Having checked the fueling that the carb needle is delivering in the carburetor across the rev range at light throttle openings, it's over to the needle machine to make any adjustments needed to correct that fueling to where it needs to be. Here I'm marking up the needle so I know exactly where to take off material. I spin the needle in the needle machine and then polish the needle in the appropriate position by the appropriate amount to get the fueling exactly where I need it.
Hi, after purchasing a classic Mini, the drive home was quite rough, and the vehicle was a struggle to drive. So my first port of call was to take it down to Andy at ML Motorsport, who went through the mechanicals and ended up having to recondition the head, new inlet manifold, outlet, exhaust manifold, and had a RC40 exhaust fitted. After that, the vehicle drove a lot better, but still needed to be dialed in. I was fortunate enough to attend ACDodd's tuning day at ML Motorsport. The day was really fun. AC and Andy imparted their knowledge freely. So, I learned a lot from the session. And the overall outcome is a smoother driving vehicle with a great throttle response. So it was well worth it. And if you do get an opportunity, book AC in and try and attend in person, because there's a lot to learn, and it's quite an interesting day. Thank you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks to ML Motorsport and Mabs there for allowing me to film and obviously providing me with some footage. All that remains to say here is that will be the end of the tuning videos until I restart tuning or taking bookings again in March 2023. I stop for the winter because it's just too cold usually to work outside and too wet. So I won't be focusing on these videos now until the spring. Please watch my other content, and as ever, please like, subscribe and share. Thank you very much.